We have some, I want to say hello to everyone again, and the simplicity of the message uh, is that if you see it as anything, if you see it as a message, it's already been completed. You are what you're looking for. It's a very nice, reassuring, disarming message. Yeah, because basically we live under a lot of anxiety and premised really on a lot of beliefs. And one of them is that we're a long-lasting, separate, independent entity that must use the opportunity to better or grow and whatever's going on in there. Yet in this, it's sort of like you can just take a breath and relax because, if you wanted to arrive, you already are on having never left. Yeah. If you wanted to transcend an imaginary thing, you're in that condition right now. You've transcended an imaginary thing. It's imaginary. So the transcending is 100% available at all times. So I found the message to be the last answer, really, in my experience and time and stuff. Because after I heard this, it relieved me of the need for any other answers, any more answers. Concerning an important topic, I didn't like the condition I seemed to be in, and I wanted to get out. And I felt there must be a higher calling or whatever. And so uh, to be relieved of that is an incredible answer. So I haven't spent any time looking for what can't be found in years now. People just befuddle me when they go into mystical diatribes. I'm just like, I've been dumbed down completely. You know what I mean? I've been dumbed down. Someone's on the phone talking about their 58th ecstatic experience, and I'm wondering, can I grind that paint off the side of the camper? Do I need 80 grit or 100 grit? I'm very disappointing when certain people call me. It must be disappointing because there's a lot of lull. They keep talking, and and every once in a while I go, I'm still here, and they keep going on. I thought they called me, but basically they spend the whole time talking. It's sort of interesting. So, and I understand it. I understand to need to get out. But the point is you're not in. But I understand the drive to get out. I do. In a lot of situations in my life, I had an incredible drive to get out of what I thought I was in. Seriously. Yeah, sometimes I didn't really have to think I was in. It appeared to be jail. So I felt like I knew where I was in. I wanted to get out. But it was such that drive to get out of an imaginary in is a form of slavery. Yes, don't you see it? Because what you want to get in is that which wants to get out. I mean, what you want to get out of is that which wants to get out. Yes? And you can only get out of that by seeing you're not in it. It can never be successful. You're never going to transcend yourself and be able to report that you've transcended yourself. You'll disappear. Like people get in touch with me and they go, hey, hon, they go, I've disappeared for the last 3 weeks. Well, who was there to tell me that? Who saw them disappeared? There must have been another you in there. Yeah. Guess who else could report the disappearance? Now, in a sense, when that is disappeared, you're completely here. Yet it's not a feeling of great pride and like accomplishment because it can't be any way else. It's just so the heroic journey, there's no traction because You are what you're looking for, being ourselves reality. When you arrive, it dawns on you on having never left. Yeah, all these things just keep repeating. It's like here's like a mental shore that these waves just keep breaking on, and then one of the times the wave hits, yeah, and something drops, something snaps, something. It's not even snap. There's just a movement of interest and attention from it into living, into whatever, yeah, and it's almost like a reclamation of 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 resources you weren't even aware were lost. Yeah. You thought they were busily doing your work, but they're not. They're doing something else's work. This manufacturing and reinforcing the idea of being a long-lasting, independent, separate entity. And the picture of the entity really just represents the doership, the thinkership, the feelership, the seership, all that, yes? It needs somehow to put all of that claiming together and put it in a nice package so that you can think about it, that you can see it, yeah, in a way. It's gotta seem to be a thing that has all of these qualities that are not of thingness, yeah? So the thing, people will say, is the eye really seeing? The eye isn't seeing. Something, it facilitates a seeing, yeah? But you could be dead and your eyes would be perfect, but they're not seeing shit. And now you could take one of those eyes out and put into a live body and it would facilitate seeing, because that which is seeing is still available in that alive body. It seems not to be available as the dead body. It's completely available, but as a dead body, it's not available, seemingly, yeah? So those eyes can be perfect, but there's no seeing. So obviously, it's not the eye that's seeing, yeah? It's not the ear that's hearing. It's not the tongue that's tasting. It's not the finger that's feeling. There's something that's moving through these almost like appliances that bring about a contact, yes? And so just sort of like if you were in a kitchen, there was a toaster, the toaster isn't gonna make a smoothie, it's gonna make toast, yeah? So what's hearing isn't going, you know what I mean? It's that which is doing it all, but the electricity, but the eye ain't gonna hear a note, yeah? The ear isn't gonna see a fucking bird, yeah? But the same electricity that's running all the appliances is running all of these. If you cut off the electricity, the toaster may be completely ready to toast. It has a history of toasting and it's been concerned about a future history, but there's no toasting going on because there's no juice, yeah? So wouldn't it be wise to at least be clear? We're not talking about the 800 page of a metaphysical treasure found in a cave in Tibet. We're talking about basic, just see what's going on. Does the seeing precede the seer, or is there a seer that's seeing? Does the seeing precede, come before the seer, or is there a seer that's seeing? Yeah. If you get that there's a seeing before the seer, you now see the horse in front of the cart. When you believe the seer is what's seeing, the horse is appearing to be behind the cart. It hasn't changed, but it's appearing to us to be behind the cart, yeah? When you come to the senses, it's never been. It will just always be a horse in front of the cart. But right now we're living under a trance that the horse is appearing to be behind the cart. Yeah, just that simple. So we're like, when we're looking forward, as the Course in Miracles says, we're seeing only the past. So we're actually going this way when the whole story is we're going that way. We're going the other way. And then when I used to meet people who were in the path of spiritual awakening, I said, basically, the trajectory is from the awakening. And the beautiful thing is, you're going to get awakened is going to fail, and then there'll be a recognition you are awake. Yeah. But you know what I mean? In a way, your seeking is actually leaving the fact that you're awake. And it's reinforcing this idea that the cart is in front of the horse. Yeah. A simple correction, because when it's corrected, you don't have to move the horse in front of the cart. It's never not been the horse in front of the cart. It was just appearing to be that way. And those appearances, or the way we see, is based on certain premises. Yeah. And one of them is described with that simple example of which is first, the seeing or the seer. Yeah. So if you can get that clear, because see, this is the seen, or this is the dreamt, yet it's the one that when it hears about dreaming, it thinks it's dreaming, but it's not dreaming. This is the dreamt. Yeah. When we're obsessed with the dreamt, we don't see the aspect of dreaming. So we're living as if the dreamt, which would be the cart, is in front of the horse. And we're trying to make sense when we're going sort of backwards. Yeah. And the whole thing is, you can't make sense because you are that movement or that position of the cart being in front of the horse. So it just keeps applying the same cart in front of the horse and everything. Yeah. That's why it's beautiful when you come to a satsang, because you don't hear it in other places. You're not going to get it. Why? Because you're an activity thinking it's a thing, and that activity is like a bizarro world. You believe like you're very unclear about which came first, the chicken or the egg. You're just way off completely. Yeah, yeah. You're not even close to that. So Huang Po, a great Zen master, put it very cleanly. He says, whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. Yeah. Now, if you hear that and then just bring that, because it can't get changed too much from here to here. Just bring it and just compare it with the stream of narration, which is completely premised on, completely premised on that which can be perceived is what's perceiving. Again, completely ass backwards. Yeah. Now, so when you see everything, everything may be perfectly aligned, but you see it as unaligned because of, like, the hammer sees everything as a nail. So, yeah, that's why the whole pointing is not to that which can't be pointed to, what you call, let's say, the essence of non-duality, but we point at duality because we have the object as the subject. Yeah. When its subjectivity may be appearing as an object. Yeah. But we have the object as the subject. And the language supports that. Every time there's a noticing of seeing, it infers there's a seer. And you run into this logic a lot at the talks. People cannot see that an action could be a virgin. It can be a virgin action. It always means it's got to be coupled with the actor. Someone had to do it. If it wasn't you, if it wasn't me, it has to be God or something. But it's very uncomfortable for that mental logic to pause with this revelation. It gets uncomfortable. I can watch it on people's faces. The whole thing stops for a second, and it's very uncomfortable because it sees the only way, it sees in only this way. If there's an action, let's look for the actor. And you never see the actor, so there's just tons of assumptions. Yeah. I'm it, you, they, yes, yes. This is fundamental. This is like leaving its imprint on everything else. So like when this started to hit me, it became clear in this seed assignment, if you don't see this, you're going to look from it. So if you don't see that the horse is in front of the cart, yeah, and one of the ways you don't see that the horse is in front of the cart is by looking at it from the cart being in front of the horse, because the only way you can see the horse in front of the cart from the cart being in front of the horse is the cart's in front of the horse. That's how it's beautiful, because then you're left with, yeah, this is it. This is the obscuring agent. This is the obstacle. This is it. What? And yeah, and then thank God, and I'm not. See, because I am not this. Yeah. I am reality. I am what I'm looking for. The seeker is actually the sought, but not as a seeker. Yeah. The seeker is not the sought. The seeker, the seeker is not a seeker. There's only seeking, yeah? So in this sense, the seeker is the sought, but it's not going to be found as the seeker, yeah? That's an activity that's disguising the fact of what we are. It's not really disguising it. It's just misdirecting attention and interest. So basically the horse and the cart are there, always there, but we see it differently. So it's as good as it's just as good as it not being true if it doesn't seem to be true, really, yeah? It doesn't have to not be true. It just doesn't seem to be true is enough. Because why? We're reality. So we now lend reality to that which is not true. Because we seem to be looking through that. Yeah, like the example we use a lot here from the old days, the little brownie camera and then the big incredible 360-degree super HD camera. And the HD camera is definitely apart from the brownie camera. And it decides to look through the brownie camera, and as it's looking through the brownie camera, it forgets something. It doesn't change anything, but it forgets something. And then there's an appearance of change, yeah? And that's all that's necessary, because what you're fooling is what is, yeah? Because no illusion could fool reality except if reality is in cahoots with it. So somehow reality wanted to go look into that brownie camera, and then what? It's out of the audience and right in the screen. It's in the movie, yeah, yeah. And it adapts, I guess, not well. But so, all right, it's looking through the brownie camera. Now, I remember I used to buy them in Asia, this like cardboard box. You'd get one roll of film, you take 12 pictures, bring it to the pharmacy, and it was like a plastic lens. You didn't really even see what you just pointed and hoped, you know, you know, and you just had faith that a picture was going to be formed. Yeah. So here's this incredible possibility now looking through the brownie and seemingly being defined by the brownie's limitations. Yeah. So now it can only see life through the brownie's eye. Yeah. And it barely gets to see. So it's basically just living on speculation and assumptions and shit. Yeah. And so it gets frustrated, but its possibilities are severely limited because it's being frustrated by being a brownie as a brownie, and it's going to try to get out of the frustration as a brownie. Yeah. So basically, it's stuck in this conundrum. So what happens is it decides it saves up money and buys some beautiful Nikon $5,000 lenses and attaches it to the plastic lens with the hopes it's going to improve the pictures. But the plastic lens is the dominant position. So it doesn't matter if you put $30,000 of lenses, it's not going to change shit. Yeah. Now, of course, the head is going to feel quite invested with $30,000, so it's going to act like it definitely changed shit because I don't want to look like a complete idiot. But now, yeah, look at these. No, they look just like they did before. No, they're beautiful, beautiful depth and color saturation. No, so what happens? Someone comes in, sees the situation, and talks not to the brownie. No. And it makes it very clear because it knows that there's the brownie idea is going to claim to be the hearer of what's going to be heard. So he makes it very clear the brownie isn't going to get this. The brownie and he says, hey, you're not the brownie. So suddenly, the brownie gets really confused, but it hits. The big camera gets it. The big camera, that was the one possibility it sorely was lacking, which is it tried to be free as the brownie. It tried to get better as the brownie, but the freedom is from the brownie. And it's basically readily available because you're not the brownie, yeah? So suddenly it's not painful for the big camera to step away from the little camera. It's not been stitched together and shit like that. It's just appeared like this. So the message gets through, the large camera pulls away, and what does it see? The brownie. As we say, You are the seeing of what you're not. So now you are that large, incredible camera seeing the brownie and having an understanding, I'm not that. Yeah. That's the message. That's the whole point. So the brownie is going to get frustrated. So, and you may leave here, all right, you heard the message hit somewhere, but the brownie is it regroups pretty good. And as you walk into your car, you, as the brownie, think you heard the message. Yeah. And what happens is, being the hearer of the message, and it doesn't seem to work, you start seeing a lot of people and you try to hear the same message from a lot of people. But it isn't more people telling you it, it's hearing it. Yeah. It's the hearing of the message. It's not the hearer of the message. The hearer of the message is the neutering of the message. There's a hearing of the message. Yeah. And after you hear things after a while, and something has heard it that's different than the hearer of it, you start having a distinction. You have some discrimination. It's not a quality you have, it just shows up. And you now start recognizing what you're not, the activities and the assumptions and stuff, because you're seeing it not from it. Yeah. The brownie cannot know itself. It can't. Can't. Because its programming is defined. What camera wants to be a brownie? You know? The program, just like when I got run over by the car, I have no memory of it. It probably would have been too disastrous to the system to remember getting run over by the car, especially if I did something and walked out into the street or shit. So the brain just completely shut down. I've dreamt it 3 different ways. I never seen whatever happened, never saw something. I wasn't privy to it. It was above the pay scale. Yeah. So the brownie isn't going to let anything get through to you're a real brownie, motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's gonna bang that way off as all possible. But when you hear it from what you are, you can see it. And when seeing or awareness brings recognition, and the recognition is, I'm not that. And the obvious example usually presented is, if you're seeing it, you can't be it. Yeah. So there's a sense of something. Hey, these activities have a certain frequency and a certain rhythm and a sort of, but it's not the frequency that's underneath it. Yeah. What's underneath it is like an I am, almost like a baseline that really never changes. It's just where the mental state is very, very like a cardiogram, whatever, heart, or a lie detector. it's constantly going like this. And this other has a much different sense. And you start, in recovery, we talk about, you'll start having intuitive thoughts. You'll start feeling a new, like an upgrade in the system. Yeah. And it gives you knowledge of self instead of self-knowledge. Yeah. Because like we say in recovery, self-knowledge avails us nothing. But knowledge of self is very valuable because it keeps reminding whatever doesn't need to be reminded, you're not that. So if you feel like Ramana would talk about the self-inquiry, and he'd say, all right, this is not a routine, it's not a practice. You do it, yeah? It's like a negation of the one aspect of self, asking the other aspect of self, who are you? Yeah, and then they both negate, and then there you are. It says, when there you are, is there you are. Yeah, no more asking. And then if the mind seems to go away, you can start ask it again. So in this case, yeah, by seeing what you're not is sort of the same reminder that who am I would produce. Yeah. If there's a belief that your head went away and you went down the rabbit hole again, you can ask who's down the rabbit hole, and it should bring you to your senses pretty quickly. Well, the same thing with this is just seeing, like, the going down the rabbit hole is not you, does the same thing in this satsang. Yeah, it's basically the same effect. Is you're constantly brought back to on having never left. And after a while, it becomes obvious you've never left because you keep getting brought back, and every time you get brought back, it's obvious on having never left. So the whole illusory movement becomes clearer. You see it. Hey, yeah, I didn't leave to come, because when I come back, it's based on having never left. So basically what gets negated is this belief that the head left, that I'm spaced out, or this belief that we used to have, which is I'm out of the moment, which is a totally insane idea from the old days. I mean, totally insane. So now it is a business, a big business at one time, how to get into the moment, but it's predicated on an insane idea you could be out of a moment, which is impossible. You are the moment. So basically all of these attempts to get in or the belief that you've gone out can also be used to see you're not that. Yeah, like Dylan was talking the other day, a resentment has value because it's not yours, really. So it reminds you of the freedom, because freedom doesn't remind you you're free, you're just free. Yeah, the old bullshit reminds you that you're free. Yeah, really. And sometimes it's good to notice so that you can honor and have gratitude, and then you recognize more and more of what you're not. Yeah. And basically you get established, which was always established, like the Course in Miracles says, this correction isn't a correction, because the correction immediately shows you there was nothing to correct. Basically, yes. So there you go. So that's what satsang for me is, in a way. We come here and maybe we put a lot of miles on the action figure, and we thought we did this and went there, did that, but basically nothing's happened. Yeah. Basically the same premise I felt every time I've ever come to Marin City to do a talk is the exact same I'm feeling right now. Every time, for years. Yeah. That basic foundation doesn't change. Days and shit, those are all made up. Differences and graphs, and it went this way and that way, but in fact, nothing really happened. Yeah, it's all happening, but nothing ever happens. Nothing ever actually came to pass to be something. It's just appearing to be a lot. Yeah, to us. Yeah, the dreaming. Things are appearing to be true or false to us. That's the whole realm of seemingly so. Yeah. And if you take something really seemingly so, then it's sort of like the guy in the house the house is on fire, and yet he has a lot of non-duality books. Should I read the books? No, get a pail of water. Yes, that's not appropriate right now. The seemingly so seems really to be so. You better respond to the level you find your head at. Yes, doesn't mean you're there. You don't jump levels, you appear at levels. There's not a you, yeah, doing anything. Yeah. So it's smart. A lot of people want to replace everything with non-duality, but that's like intellectual baggage. It doesn't work. Yeah, I feel. So, if you feel like you're really up the ass of self, call a divine proctologist. I got some numbers I can give you. 24/7. They even make home visits. They'll help you wherever you find yourself. So, hey, yeah. The funny thing is, when the talks come through me, they're super clear, at least to this. Yeah, I'm always weird. It always used to get me why people aren't. I don't understand the word this guy's saying. Man, it just seems so obvious over the years. So the certainty isn't like it was forged in the fires of turmoil and conquest. No, it's just obvious. Like, yeah, yeah. It's like more normal. The shit that seems really weird is, there's a lot of shit that seems really weird. Yeah. This seems so simple. Basically, you are what you're looking for. Isn't that what they said? Isn't that what these masters said? Didn't they say that what you are is indescribable incomprehensible, unable to be experienced. Why would you want to listen to people trying to describe it and comprehend it and experience it? That mustn't be what we are. Yeah. And so what we are can't be experienced. We would have to be something else to do that. Yeah. It's not you don't get it, because if you got it, you could possibly lose it. It's like that story about the lady in India who has that beautiful necklace and she loses it, and she flips her out. She really loves that necklace, and her life takes a turn and goes bad. And so she's got all her friends helping her try to find it, and they can't seem to find the necklace. They're busy looking everywhere. And then they hear about a guy who says he found the necklace, not hers, but the necklace. And so they made a pilgrimage and they went there, and he gave a big talk and they signed up, and it was a 12-week program of how to get ready to find the necklace or whatever, and on, you know, how to do a lot of Zooms and shit like that. And they're all, you know, and they're hoping and she's hoping. And then one day she finds the necklace. She's so fucking ecstatic, and she gives great credit to the master, and signs up for the next, you know, find the necklace and the earrings or something, you know. I want to find it all now. And and now she's super happy. Yeah, she was bummed out when she lost the necklace, happy that she found it. But in fact, the necklace never left. It's always been around the neck. Yeah, she just believed that she lost it. She never went and felt for it. Yeah, and then one day, from out of a habit, and then she finally felt it. And instead of realizing it had never left, her mental realization was, I found it, as if it was really lost. Yeah, and so if the being lost was the cause of the being bummed out for those months, you've got to see that as dreaming, don't you? Because there was the necklace wasn't lost. So if that was the cause of the flip out or being bummed out, it was like they talk in the Course in Miracles, an uncaused effect. In other words, it was dreamt. We dreamt that we lost the necklace, and we've been feeling really flipped out. And now we dream that we found the necklace. Yeah, but always can follow back into losing the necklace again, when the simple information is that the necklace is there. It's always been there. Yeah. But why was I so bummed out? See, because this isn't a real place. It's dreaming. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you lost something. If you felt like you've lost something, it's just produces the same effects. Remember, we had this, and one of our friends had a truck, a beat up truck, and he went somewhere to where we're going to meet. And then he says, someone stole the truck. First of all, no one would want to steal this truck, but he flipped out and he had everyone looking and everywhere at this. And then it was realized that it was right where he parked it. Yet his head felt like, who's that fucker who stole look at, none of it. It was all uncaused effects. This is what the head does all day. That's why it makes mountains out of molehills and shit like that. It's an expert at that, yeah. But it was a perfect example because we shared it, and then we had a living example right after the meeting, because he drove over here, called us up. We were at fucking, where's my truck? Did you? And then so we drove to where he parked it, and there it was. This is only the 800th time here. It's still parked where it's been parked. Yeah. All right. So, Michael, you have anybody?
Any hands want to go up? While we're waiting, I was gonna. Well, first, actually, I hadn't focused before on that part about the feeling the necklace, like using that as a metaphor for directly knowing, and how the seeing, needing to see it, was actually denying, just knowing, feeling that it's right there. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and Judy George raised her hand.
Judy,
You're muted.
that's a great question. Silence. It's always answered.
Okay, I'll try again. So I watched your videos since 2009 to now, and I wanted to see if I could catch or learn when that transformation, when did you stop being part of your stories, your thoughts, and your experience and become consciousness and awareness? Was there, did it get you right away? You understood it, or it took years?
Well, that question isn't grounded in what I feel is reality anyway. So you don't get what you already are. You may have a sense where it changes in the dreaming. So let's say the underlying basis of this event is awakeness.
Yes.
And there's, let's say, two possibilities out of the dualistic impression of it, is you can seemingly be awake to that there's awakeness, or you can seemingly be asleep to that there's awakeness. And that awakeness, one point in seemingly being asleep to that, something may occur and you'll wake up to the fact of what you've always been. So basically it doesn't happen, because it's always been happening. Like Ramana says, it's always realized. So there are no realizations of it. It's always realized. Yeah. So let's say, so we're out to lunch and then we become aware, sort of like what happens to me in a sense. You're at lunch, but you're facing the other way. So you're looking at the kitchen door, waiting for something to come, but you can smell the meat behind you. You just can't get it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So you're waiting to get something you already are. Yeah. Yeah. That's what stops. So now, and if it stops sufficiently, it can be, that's it. I'm awake to being awake. But most of the times for people, it's I'm awake to being awake. And then you seem to go in and out, but you realize who's that goes in and out? No one's going in and out. So all the feelings of losing it or not being it really can be used to realize you're not all that, which is being said you are. Yeah. You're not that. So it's an incredible reminder. What you're not is a great reminder of what you are with the right understanding. Yeah. Instead of constantly be a reminder and you assume it's you, you now see it and the assumptions is not you. And it's a different effect. Yeah. It's the same material going on, but it's a completely different effect when it's seen as not you. You're going to see it just like you did all day when you were taking it to be you. You saw a lot of it and it was constantly being used to reinforce it was you. You felt disconnected, you got connected, you split, you came back in, you lost it, you got it. Yeah. You see some of that same stuff, but it's not you. So there's but it's you're not going, you're just like staring straight ahead. Where before you'd be like this. Yeah. So that's how I see it. Yeah. Yeah. So certain stuff was sufficient enough that I was convinced. First of all, I got struck sober 34 years ago. And what I was convinced that day was I'm fucked and I'm not managerial quality. Now that basically hasn't changed all these years. Yeah. It doesn't come up for debate. It's nothing, there's not question marks, rotating around it. It's just a mute point. Yeah, go on with living. That's what sort of happens a lot. And then there's a loss of interest in all that mental activity that you believe is expressions or representations of Judy. You lose interest in it. Yeah. And now you gain interest in what's always available at all times with no requirement necessary. Yeah. You don't gain interest. There's a gaining of interest in it. I find you and I and Chris and Tommy are expressions. Yeah. A lot of things can express through us. And sometimes you find out about the tree by the fruit. Yeah. So you just sort of, if you start noticing you're traveling lighter on a statistic basis with absolutely no maintenance of it, just traveling lighter, you're on to something. Just, yeah. Don't step in the dominoes falling and play a role of the domino. Just let it do. Yeah. Yeah. That's how I feel today about it.
That's great, Paul. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So after I heard satsang a couple of times, I would say it was less than 100 times or something, non-dwelling. I saw some people I got inspired by, went to India. The life of Ramana inspired me. I went there, checked him out. He was dead. So, I went to his place he lived. I saw Ramesh Balsekar there. When I was at Ramana, there was people giving satsangs, not there. The funny thing is, if you wanted to stay at the Ramana temple, you couldn't see those satsangs. They weren't into the people giving satsang at the place of Ramana, the Ramana ashram. It surprised me because I went there to get a room and they said, "Are you going to go to satsang outside?" I go, "Yeah." "You can't stay here." But they had pictures of Ramana right next to him. That was surprising. So yeah. So I did, and just certain things collapsed, and I don't know. I believe all of us have the ability to be convinced somewhere, and I was convinced of the presentation of non-duality, that I'm never going to get it, and my wanting to get it is one of the main obstructions. Yeah. And so how can I lose interest in wanting to get this? That would be interest in me. Yeah. So the whole system, you can't use the system. Yes. You can't use how all these devices you call yours, you need to be left alone with those devices to see they're not yours. If they keep getting fed, you're going to keep thinking it's working. But to me, satsang, non-duality satsang is really a starvation in a sense. You're not going to get it. You're going to get nothing. Yeah, every week. Nothing. Yeah. When does it start happening? It doesn't. This is it. Yeah. Come here, and I have faith in the message. I know it's worked. And yeah. So thank you, Judy. I'm happy to see you. Yeah.
Thanks, Judy. And Stuart's got his hand up.
Let's do it.
Our newbie, one newbie.
Hey, how you going? Hey, look, I just want to thank you for your message. It is so clear to me, and it's almost like you're getting nothing, but it's almost like you're getting nothing, but you're entertained at the same time. It's incredible, and I probably watched the videos for about maybe 12 months, but. And in that, it's like, whoa, like you sort of muted me. I seen what was going on really clearly, and it felt like, it's such a clear message. It's wonderful. So thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. And check is in the mail. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'll agree.
Believe me, but they'll believe people from Oz. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oz.
Yeah. We're very
No.
we're very simple here. Just really simple. You got to keep it simple. It's like
it's all there in front of us. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I hope I see you again. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Thanks, Stuart. Thanks for joining the entertainment.
Remember, if there's no questions, we're going to break into singing Happy Birthday for Michael Z. So, yeah, it's coming soon.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I don't see any other hands up.
10 more seconds and it starts. 9, 8, 7.
Oh, there we go. No, we got another hand here.
Hands, 3.
Our still newbie Jonathan Blackman put his hand up.
What? All right. You're lucky the bell, right underneath the bell.
Yeah, we couldn't have that.
Thank you,
happening.
Jonathan.
Had to do something to prevent that. So where do I even begin? For me, I get these very pronounced experiences, and they come and they go. I'll be listening to music, and it'll suddenly be very pronounced experience that music is just being listened to, and there's no one listening to it. And or I'll be thinking or doing my stuff, and then it'll occur to me only when I'm thinking about me, the I thought, that there's an I to begin with. And even when I dream, there'll be situations where I'm watching everything go down. I'm watching how I feel in the dreams. And then there'll be other times, like a few nights ago, I had a dream where I was in some party in a backyard, and someone came into the party and he started basically looking at people and annihilating them, making them himself. And then I was like, hell no, I'm out of here. And I just started hopping fences, and I'm running and I'm trying to get away from this, annihilation. At the same time, sort of in the back of my mind thinking, I can only run so far. And so this sort of dichotomy of having these experiences, if you call them experiences, or realizations that come and go, that are both of a nature of that I don't exist. And then other times where I'm like, I'm terrified of not existing.
Yeah, and you're neither one or the other. Yeah. This is like dualistic ping pong. Yeah, that's what happens. But one of the things, though, we used to use an example, the snake and the skin, and an event that happens every year with snakes, I think. I don't know them intimately, but I remember, called molting, yes? So the skin falls off the snake, and then the snake gets, newer scales, it travels lighter, it attracts females better. Yeah. So it seems like it would be a win for the snake. But there's another aspect of the snake called the skin, and the skin's story is it's all of the snake. Yeah. It doesn't see that there's a snake without the skin. It says the skin is the snake. And it has a nice megaphone, and it speaks a lot. And it constantly keeps jacking into the snake brain to tell the snake that it's the skin, and all of the skin, and the agenda of the skin is the agenda of the snake. So now the skin gets a sense of the molting coming on, yeah? And it gets a little anxious because, of course, its foundation is pretty shaky because it's not the snake. So it starts telling the snake to stay out of the sun, get moisturizer, don't go over that rock, watch out for that twig, snag. And the snake has been sort of lulled to sleep, and basically all it's been listening to is the skin's point of view. Yeah? So this is the point that happens at times. So when life is changing and things are occurring, sometimes you get to you almost hear the emperor without the clothes. Yeah, you hear it in its raw, like, survival mode. Yeah. Now, hopefully, you hear it from the snake. If you hear it from the skin, you're apt to do crazy shit. Yeah. But if you hear it from the snake, you'll see it. You'll hear it from the snake, and you'll see the reaction of the skin. And that will not be you, yeah? And you'll probably have in a way, you're like on the winning side at that event. And then there's more of a leaning towards the snake way. And now there's a loss of interest in the skin. No matter if it gets new batteries for the megaphone, you don't care. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what satsang can do. Satsang can allow a shift in interest from the skin to the snake. Yeah. Yeah. So that when push comes to shove, you're not going to go the skin way. You're going to stay at the snake. Yeah. Even though the skin's, screaming bloody murder, you're just not going to go for it. And it's almost like a habitual change. It's almost as if you just get used to leaning that way. Yeah. There's no choice. There's no one in there, but there's a movement away from the complete preoccupation as a snake with the skin. And now the skin is seen, it has its role. And I'll get you a pint of moisturizer, but not fucking tubs and tubs of the shit. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Yeah.
I'll get a hat when it tells me you can't go out in the sun. Oh, I wear a hat. Well, no, can't go out in the sun. It's insane. So yeah.
I gotcha. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're gonna hear, well, the one side you may not hear because you're it. The hearing of it may be like a sense of silence, but you're gonna hear what your not's reaction, for sure. After a while, it doesn't throw as many balls as it used to, but it throws a few. You're never gonna be loved. You're gonna be destitute. You're going to have something terrible tomorrow, whatever. It's just constantly trying to keep you agitated. Yeah. Why? Because if you stop, you see it's agitated. Yeah. If you're agitated, you can't see it. You think that's the way it is. But when there's a stillness and you see something that can't stay still, it's clear. I see it with my dog. My dog is a young female. She's about almost 2 years. When she's laying there, her eyes are moving. Her mind is just going off. Yeah. And she can't rest until she gets exhausted. Yeah. She'll change in a few years, but I mean, you can see it. That the mental state is like that. It's agitation that only begets more agitation. Yeah. Like there's a
follow it.
saying, which is, you can't use activity to produce stillness. That would be activity. What? Yeah. So doing is one thing. The doing being attributed to a doer is a bondage. No matter what you're doing, it can be spiritual level shit. If it's being claimed and you're not seeing that claiming, you're looking from it. So yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, bondage in temples, just like there's bondage in a crack house. It's yeah. You probably have more rushes in the crack house, but hopefully better food at the temple. You won't be lacking excitement in the crack house, that's for sure. So, not that I know personally, but just share it. I heard things. I heard things from people. So, yeah. Anyone else? If not, it's Zerbal time.
Anybody else want to raise their hand?
We're having the countdown.
Well, no, because I can add something myself right now. Because I find that curious, the way of phrasing that. If there's seeing the agitation, there's, it's not the same as being in the agitation. Like watching a movie, you could, see a character in agitation, and that's completely different, though, that you can get up and go to the bathroom. You're not actually, you can recognize, but there isn't actually agitation, right?
Yes.
So that's it's kind of like when you were talking, like when you use seeing, that the eyeballs don't see, and that they're seeing without a seer. Of course, a lot of people would say, no, that's not true. I mean, if I'm dead, then there's no seeing, right? But then, so like A Course in Miracles uses vision then to back it up, right? That and tries to say that seeing is only of the body, but that's vision, falling into the into the identification. So even the seeing is vision, but trapped in the idea of it being attributed to a body.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just weird how that all. I just kind of find that fascinating. It's like going back to the example of agitation, right? It's not agitation because it's a movie.
Putting off the happy birthday.
It's like a decision based on self, right? Like, so if you're identified with, yeah, I'm gonna keep on going.
Birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mike. Happy birthday to you.
That was really cool, actually. Thank you all for making me. So there, give it back to you.
All right, we're ending. We're gonna say goodbye now. Yeah. All right. Let me say hello to everyone and then goodbye. Michael, thank you for everything. It's been a pleasure to know you. Yes, I feel like I've known you for years.
You have.
That one was appropriate then. Happy to know you. Yeah. But pass the hat around. Toowoomba, is that on the East Coast?
Hi, Miss Shelley.
Stuart? Again, we can't hear you.
Yeah, it's on the East Coast, but a bit inland, about 150 k's inland.
But where? You're between Sydney and Byron Bay?
No, north of Byron Bay, about 250 clicks to Byron. I've been to Byron.
Wow.
I was in the academy for a while. You know?
Oh, you were? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That was
Wow.
one of my big transformations, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
You must have been there, I think, when I wasn't, I think, because I can't remember you there, you know?
No, I was never in the one in Byron. I was at the Wisconsin one just for a month.
Yes. I had friends who went and lived there for about 2 years, I think.
Yeah, when I was with Lindley, a girl from Australia for 5 years, and then we moved to Byron Bay.
Yeah, okay.
In 1999, and then we moved to Byron.
Yeah, and I remember that guy. I've heard you speaking of the guy who loved to meditate, but you got to be really quiet. Yeah, I was at his house for a bit there as well. You know.
Oh yeah. All right. Don't tell him I said anything.
Pardon?
Don't tell him I said anything.
No, I don't see him now. No.
All right.
I haven't seen him for a long time. Yeah, just memories. That's all.
Were like detoxing from that experience, so they left Wisconsin and went back to Byron Bay.
Yes. Yeah. We had a thing in Toowoomba that there was quite a number of people at that time. It was a good time. Yeah.
Everything has great value.
Yes. Well, for me, it was an amazing value because I really connected with the what they call the master teacher. You know, Chuck. Yeah, I really connected with him. He blew my mind. You know?
I knew Chuck. I hung out with him in Wisconsin. We did a video. Him and a number of people in recovery did a video that they used to release in prisons.
Yes, yeah. He was really big.
I got to get going, Stuart.
Okay, nice to meet you. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
All right.
Okay.
Let me say. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, Leah. Nice to see Leah. Honey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you, Paul.
Great. Judy G. We got Becky. Becky, how are you? Have you been here before, Becky? I think so. No?
No, it's my first time here.
Oh, well, welcome.
Yes, and thank you for your teaching.
Oh, you're welcome. We got Tariq from Dover, New Jersey. Always a pleasure to see Tariq. We got Miles, Vancouver. Kayla, we got David B. Susan K, who supplies me with lattes. Someone else will do that today. Thank you. Rich A. Or that's how you say rich in Canada. Rich A. We got Roman. We got Johannes, Germans. Richard. Nice to see you. Richard H.
You see,
Stefan on Having Never Left. We got Jonathan. Nice to see you, Jonathan. Chris. Oh, we got Zoe. Zoe has survived. She's back. Nice to see you, Zoe. It's a pleasure meeting you. Yeah. Hopefully you have a chance to do it again. We got Mike A. Nice to see you, Mike. Angie. There she is. We got Kelly. Nice to see Kelly. Suzanne. Pleasure. Alan O. Alan and his brother. Oh, wait a minute. We got some more. Oliver. Holly A. We got Senna, not manageable from Sweden. Yes. Kathy. Yeah, it's good. So you had a good time when we were here together, everyone? Yeah, good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, good. All right, checks in the mail for you too. Thank you. All right, well, we're gonna go have a coffee here. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, if anything's, you wanna know when all the talks are going on and stuff, just go to the website, and I'm gonna be doing a thing for April, a couple of them. We'll try to put it up on like Zoom interviews with other people, yeah? Like my old probation officer, checking in after 35 years. I'll see you.